Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are doing or hope you are enjoying your good health. In today's lecture, the topic is what is a conflict. You know that conflict is the contradiction and the opposite conversation. Conflict is the opposite theory, and conflict mean to have opposite attitude and manners and philosophical aspects. It's been the variation of thoughts, variations of concepts, variations of theoretical and academic concepts. One person might be agree to a statement and second does not. It's totally dependent on the things that we have in our life. Conflicts is everywhere in our society. Conflict can be seen at societal level. Conflict can be seen at political, religious, even in the caste, creed, and colors, even at country levels. Different types of conflict, according to which that we have in our life. Let's see to see what actually a conflict is. Conflict is a theory or a state that society or an organization functions so that each individual participant and its group struggle to maximize their profit, which inevitably contributes to social change, such as political changes and revolutions. Mostly conflicts can be seen between social class, that portrait versus and bourgeoisies and ideologies and capitalism and socialisms. Different concepts can be seen in the term of conflicts. Although if we have the theory of Karl Marx, then we see the conflict in the economy, opposition parties, conflict in growing wealth, conflict in producing in the changes of the corporation in the harmony. It's when we have different types of conflict. Actually, the theory is mostly applied to explain conflict between social classes, portraits, and versus bourgeoisies and ideologies such as capitalism and socialism. Although some theorists such as Karl Marx have claimed that growth and development occur through conflict between opposing parties. Cooperation is also a source of healthy growth. It needs to be determined under which situation, if any conflict is necessary to produce change. As if we find any conflict, it's mean we are going to see any type or any kind of change. So, as compared to those under which cooperation and harmony lead to the greatest advances. So, conflict is vary according to the situation. Conflict can be seen in the term of society, in the term of politics, in the term of religious aspects, or even that we can see that in ethnic conflict or in political or the Asian or the South Asian or the European or the we can see that conflict is where there is the change of idea. Everywhere at every level, if there is a two opposite parties, there is a conflict. If there is a two opposite opposition and the contrary philosophies, contrary minds, it's necessary that we can see or that we can have a conflict at that situations. Basically, what is a conflict theory? Conflict theory can be traced back to the thinkers such as Machiavelli and the Thomas Hobbes, both of whom viewed humanity cynically. In its current form, conflict theory attempts to refute the functionalist approaches, which consider that societies and organizations function so that each individual and groups play a specific role, like organs in the body. They are radical basic assumptions. As I recently informed you people that conflict is where there is any kind of change in concept, change in theory, change in the form of functions, change in the form of approaches, change in the form of to setting an organization, change in the concept of just like societies, countries, religious or non-religious aspects, even the political aspects. After that, we have different assumptions of modern conflict theory. First one, why the conflict is assumed. The first one is competition. Competition is main resources, competition or competition of money, layer, sexual partner, and so on. We have many competition in our daily routine of life. Or competition is at the heart of all societal or social relationship. Competition rather than consensus, or consensus is characteristics of human relationship. We know, or we feel jealousy, we try to compete other persons, we try to compete our beloved ones, even that even that even that we have competition in our relationships. After competition, the second aspect that may be seen in the conflict theoretical aspects, theoretical approaches, structural inequality. What is structural inequality? Actually, it's belong to the concept of power and reward, or just like we are talking about social structure. Individuals and the groups that benefit from any particular structure strives to see it maintained. We feel inequality. We feel structural inequality if we are at a high stratum, or if we are at a low stratum. The low stratum people see that there is inequality in the form of power, in the form of structure, in the form of prosperous aspect. After that, we can also see the conflict in revolution. Change occurs as a result of conflict between social classes, competition, interest rather than the through adaptations. It is often abrupt and revolutionary rather than evolutionary. And we see that if there is two different phenomena in society, and they want to revolute their concept, they want to revolute their society. So definitely, if there is high stratum people and they competing the interest of the lower people, the lower people want to revolutionize the concept of that peoples. Even that conflict we see in the terms of war. Even war is a unifier of the scientific or the societies involved, as well as war may set an end to whole societies. Just as recently I explained to you that conflict is conflict can be seen at every level of our life, at every step of our life, at every level, even in our present this universe. Conflict is basically the changes in the opposition and the contrary situations where we are. Let's take a look over the Marx and the conflict of theory. Karl Marx argued that property is upheld by the state, making property struggle into political struggles between owners and renters, capitalists and workers, and other groups. Materials conditions determine the ability of any of these groups to organize effectively politically. These materials conditions are also what enable one group to propagate their views to other in society. Always we see the things, money and property and the capital and the most prominent aspect to have a conflict between societies, between people, between even that countries. Even in religious aspects we see these things can be a major cause of conflict. Things like property, wealth, power, and power for struggles, and these are the core cause of conflict at any rate. But for Marx, but for Marx, the conflict clearly arises because all things of values to man results from human labor. According to Marx, capitalist exploits workers for their labor and do not share the fruits of these labors equally. The exploitations or this exploitation is what allows to owning classes to dominate politically and impose their ideology on the workers of the world. So it's easy to understand that conflict is basically the conflict of power, the conflict of money, the conflict of capitalism, or of the capital, even that if there is a discrimination, we can see the conflict. Discrimination at any rate, at any level, or at any specific or particular site. If there is a discrimination, definitely there would be a conflict at that place. We know very well that conflict theoretical aspects we have in our society. Conflict theory offers a useful lens with which to analyze society. If we do not have different views in our society, we can never ever judge that society analytically. So then it's mean that analyzing the conflict is associated with the conflict. Analyzing society, analyzing any aspect of this universe is associated with the conflict theory. If you do not have a conflict, then how can you analyze that appropriate things? If you have same views, if you have same concept, if you are following the same map, it's mean you can never ever critically evaluate that concepts, and you core-heartedly accept that point, the point that is presented by your own philosophies, by your own theories, and by the peoples to whom you like very well. So analytical aspects is very much associated with the theory of conflict. Conflict theory can also be used to explain non-economic conflicts within a society. One might look at divide between the Protestants and the Catholics as a battle over spiritual resources, as we see in our community. Not to talk about Christianity, if we talk about our Muslim community, that we have a different view, just like Sunnis and Shias, and they have a lot of conflicts, and we can never ever judge that conflicts if we are not neutral. So a conflict can be seen at macro level and at a micro level. It is the result basic of the three concerns that I recently discussed you people. Okay, let's see that is there any conflict in a language? Oh yes, yes, we have different conflicts related to language. Even that conflict of language, the people belonging to Punjabi speakers, even in our upper stratum of society, if you are not well trained in Urdu or English language, and you are talking to Punjabi language, and the people belong to upper stratum, and they have English language, and they consider that they are the symbol of superiority. Sorry to say, but it's the notion of our society, it's the custom, and it's become the custom of our society to have a language, English language. If there is the language of the poor people, the conflict is arise there. And even the person is very much capable enough to explain all the things that are asked or that are being asked in an interview, but he is not in a position to speak English language, so that the conflict may arise at that level as well. But Urdu language and Punjabi language and English language and Chinese language, there is a lot of conflict between these things. Every country try to promote his or her language, and language conflict is also the core cause in our society. After that, we have societal conflict. Societal, then when we talk about society, it's mean upper society and lower society, higher stratum and lower stratum of people belonging to the third world countries. If the third world countries people move to the European countries, they discriminate them, because the conflict of humanity is very much different from the concept of European country or the Asian countries. But to remember, societal conflict is just due to the status of a person, just due to the wealth, just due to the power, just to the money that we have in our life. We have other conflicts, just like political conflicts, that different peoples belonging to different countries have their own view related to politics. And just talk if we talk about the Asian countries or Asian countries, just like Pakistan and India, in India, and you know very well about that the political situation is very bad in these areas. Even they are talking about democracy, even they don't know the real concept of democracy, what the democracy actually is. It's a very much difference between the understanding of the people. Also political conflicts is also, or we can see here in our surroundings. After that we have a conflicts of race, color, gender. Gender discrimination is very much important, or is very much influence in our society. And the feminist theory, the most prominent people of our society belong, and they put their view in relation to the feminist theory. Some people agree to that and some people disagree to that, and this is also a conflict of gender. Even that color, European people consider superior just they have white color. And not to talk about Asian or European, even that European people, the black American or the African American people are just considered Negro. It was not in the present situation. Even that in present situation, there are a lot of conflict in races and in colors. But we have a lot of references, we have a lot of historical aspects where the conflict is arised and rose just due to the race, color and gender. And after that we have a clear-cut conflict in Asian, or very well, Asian people are not welcome in European countries because they consider these Asian countries are more less, and they consider that they have no values, no have morals. Even that they behave with them, and they behave these people just like to the lower creator of this universe. After that we have ethnic conflict. You know very well, it's a very dangerous conflict in our society, or in the society of the world. Ethnic is the core cause of conflict in most of the part of the universe. And ethnicity and the ethnic, it's very dangerous for any country. Globalization and ethnic conflict. Globalization allows problem from one area to spill over into another area. Or globalization can weaken ethnic identities exposed to different ideas, behavior, and material goods. Economic globalization can give ethnic groups with an education advantage or over another group. Just we can see that ethnicity or ethnic conflict is being noticed, or just we can observe these things in our countries as well. Increased attention since end of Cold War. Cold War is a very dangerous concept, and many conflicts developed independently or even of the East-West rivalry, but were held in check by superpowers. Extremely difficult to contain to one country. Or ethnic diversity does not automatically result in violence or conflict, or that conflicts at any level, conflicts at any level are not good for any country. Ethnicities or tribalism and nationalism often used to interchangeably, or that become the core cause of conflicts. Tribalism, outdated terms, just we consider it, and prefer term for groups is ethnic group. How to determine identity and ethnic aspects, and the social and cultural or economical or political factors are the core cause of these ethnicities. And people are individually shape many social and cultural aspects just in order to promote ethnicity. The upper stratum and the political people utilize these concepts in order to get their profit, in order to get their purpose, in order to get their the basic concernings in their supposed programs. Basically, let's see what are the basic causes of ethnic conflict. First of all, ancient hatred is the core cause. The hatred of the past may be caused as ethnic conflict, or rarely about just ethnicity, and the political undertones or stereotyping, U.S. versus Afghanistan and them, competition of resources and modernizations, and weak political institutions and democratizations and first of all the different automatic weapons, and we see that the conflicts causes just due to the following reasons: a ancient haters or ethnicity and the political undertones and the competition for resources and just I personally believe that the most of the concerns of conflict belonging to the power belong to the concept of power and capitals and monies. Just these are the basic concerns, just like resources of the country that may be harmed by another's, or it's the core causes of conflict. What we have to cost if we are in the ethnic conflict: poor get to poor, thousands or millions of deaths can be seen. Land minings are a common economic cost. We have to lost our economy. We have to democratize. We have to democratize. We have to lost the concept of democracy, and the refugees and the spillover can be emerging more and more, or we have to demoralize and we have to destroy our environment, and we have to promote drug problems, and we are doing these things just in order to have ethnic conflict in our society. If we have ethnic conflict in our society, we have to lost many things that are very much precious for us. Or we see that ethnic conflicts in Asia, in India, religion differences and partitions at that time. Muhammad Ali Jinnah Muslim Leagues and Jawaharlal Nehru for India, Sikhs and Golden Temples Association of Indira Gandhi, and rapes of Christians or murders and rapes of Christians. We see that we have at that time Muslims peoples are being raped. Muslim girls are being raped and are being killed, or were being killed. Sorry, just we see the different reasons behind the conflict. Or you know very well in India we see the causes of conflict of mosque, that they destroy the mosque just in order to see the religious conflicts. Or how can we resolve this ethnic conflict? We have to develop our economy, we have to develop our community, we have to democratic create our society, and we have to stop this ethnic conflicts, and we have to arrange the power and feudalisms. If we want to resolve it, we will have a good people, good society, and good belonging to our